This is Robert C. Baker, and this is Robert on Real Estate. In our last episode, we talked about the importance of working with a lender early on in the home buying process. Today we have a special guest, Becca Pool from Community Mortgage, who's going to talk about that process, specifically pre-approval, a very important first step before you start looking for a home. Becca, we want to thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Robert. I'm glad to be here.
So Becca, I run into buyers all the time. I try to do an open house every single week, and I run into folks that have not actually started the pre-approval process. What is the first thing that buyers ought to do?
Typically, the first thing they need to do is contact a lender so that we can do a credit check and start talking about income, assets, and see what they actually qualify for.
So speaking of pre-approval, how much does it cost to get pre-approved?
There's no upfront charge.
There's no upfront charge? It's absolutely free?
Absolutely free.
That's awesome. So pre-approval is free of charge. My next question is how long does it last?
A credit report is good for 120 days.
Okay.
So basically 4 months.
4 months. So how much money should people put down on a house? You know, a lot of people are hesitant about buying a house because they assume that they need to have a lot of money to bring to the table to buy a house.
Right, and that's completely false. We have options for 0% down, so 100% financing. We have 3.5% down payment, 3% down payment, 5%. Really, it just depends on the buyer's needs. We have down payment assistance programs, so there's lots of options for them.
That's really good. That's comforting to know that they can come to talk to you and find out about those programs, so that they're not so scared when it comes to going through the pre-approval process.
Absolutely.
Another question people may have is, what are the closing costs?
So closing costs are the fees associated with getting a mortgage. They can run from your appraisal fees, title work fees, recording fees, all the things that we have to do to make that loan work. And so there are things that are paid out to other parties. That's really what the closing costs consist of.
So one of the terms we run into in residential lending is the word escrow. Can you help us understand what an escrow is?
Yes. So an escrow account is an account that your lender is going to have to hold your taxes and insurance, and then they will pay those each year. So your monthly payment is going to include your principal and interest, which pays back the mortgage, and then your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. Each month when you make your monthly payment, the taxes and insurance go into a non-bearing interest account, which is called your escrow account, and then your lender, when those taxes and insurance come due, will pay that bill in full.
So Becca, are there any things that buyers should not do during the lending process?
Yes. We want to maintain the financial status as it is during pre-approval, so we don't want you changing jobs or quitting your job. No big purchases like cars or furniture. Don't open new accounts, things like that.
Right. Anything that's going to negatively impact your credit may actually stop the process, right?
Yes.
And actually keep you from getting a loan, which means you can't get a house.
Yes, and we've had that happen.
Yeah.
So just be cautious and always ask us during the process. We'll help you through that.
So Becca, what's the best way for people to contact you?
Call or text me on my cell, 423-304-1020.
Thank you, Becca. And if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, please give me a call or text at 423-443-1649. This is Robert C. Baker, and this has been Robert on Real Estate.